As I had expected, Sherlock Holmes was in his sitting room reading the small personal advertisements in the Times and smoking his pipe. For this early morning smoke, he used all the half-smoked lumps of tobacco from the day before, all carefully dried and collected together. He welcomed us in his usual quiet, pleasant way and ordered more food for us. Then we all sat round the table and had a good breakfast. When we had finished, Holmes made Mr. Hatherley lie down with a glass of brandy and water within reach. "It is easy to see that your experience has been a strange and terrible one, Mr. Hatherley," he said. "Please lie down there and make yourself completely at home. Tell us what you can, but stop and have a drink when you are tired." "Thank you," said my patient. "But I have been feeling quite fresh since the doctor bandaged me, and I think that your excellent breakfast has completed the cure. So, I will begin the story of my strange experiences immediately." Holmes sat down in his big armchair. As usual, the sleepy expression on his face and his half-closed eyes hid his eagerness. I sat opposite him, and we listened in silence to the strange story our visitor told. "My parents are dead," he said, "and I am unmarried. I live alone, in rooms in London. By profession, I am an engineer, and I have had 7 years of training with Venner and Matheson of Greenwich, the well-known engineers. I completed my training 2 years ago. Not long before that, my father had died, and I received some of his money. So I decided to go into business on my own, and took an office in Victoria Street. The first few years of independent practice are often disappointing. I myself have had an extremely disappointing start. In 2 years, I have had only 3 or 4 jobs, and have earned only £27. Every day, from 9 o'clock in the morning until 4 in the afternoon, I waited in my little office, until at last I began to lose heart. I thought that I would never get any work. But yesterday, my clerk came in to say that a gentleman was waiting to see me on business. He brought in a card, too, with the name Captain Lysander Stark printed on it. The captain followed him into the room almost immediately. He was a tall, thin man. I do not think I have ever seen a thinner man than Captain Stark. He had a sharp nose, and the skin of his face was pulled very tightly over the bones. But his thinness did not seem to be the result of any disease. His back was straight, and his eyes were bright. He was plainly but neatly dressed, and seemed to be about 35 or 40 years old. "Mr. Hatherley," he said, and I thought he sounded like a German. "You have been recommended to me, Mr. Hatherley, not only as an excellent engineer, but also as a man who can keep a secret." This polite remark pleased me. "May I ask who it was who spoke so well of me?" I said. "Well, perhaps I had better not tell you that just now. I have also heard that your parents are dead, and that you are unmarried and live alone in London." "That is quite correct," I answered. "But I do not see what connection these things have with my professional ability." "My clerk told me that you wished to speak to me about a professional matter." "Yes, certainly. But everything I have said is important. I have work for you, but secrecy is necessary. Complete secrecy. And of course, we can expect greater secrecy from a man who is alone in the world than from one who lives with his family." "If I promise to keep a secret," I said, "you can trust me to do so." He looked at me carefully as I spoke. "You do promise, then?" he said at last. "Yes, I promise." You promise complete silence, both before and after doing the work. You promise not to mention the matter at all, either in speech or in writing. I have already given you my word. Very good. He suddenly jumped up, rushed across the room, and threw open the door. The passage outside was empty. That's all right, he said, coming back. I know that clerks are sometimes eager to know about their master's affairs. Now, it is safe to talk. He pulled his chair up very close to mine, and once again began looking thoughtfully at me. I did not like this. I was beginning to feel impatient with this strange man. Please tell me why you have come to see me, sir, I said. My time is valuable. Of course, this was not really true. Would £50 for a night's work suit you? He asked. Yes, very well. I said a night's work, but in fact, the work would hardly take an hour. I only want your opinion about a machine which is not working properly. If you show us what is wrong, we shall soon be able to put it right ourselves. Will you do it? Yes, I will, I said. The work appears to be easy, and the pay extremely generous. Yes. We want you to come tonight, by the last train. Where to? I asked. To Afterward, in Berkshire. It is a little village about 7 miles from Reading. There is a train from Paddington which will get you there at about 11:15. Very good. I will come to Afterward station in a carriage to meet you. Do you live far from the station then? I asked. Yes. Our house is right out in the country, more than 7 miles away. Then we shall not reach your house before midnight. I suppose there are no trains back from Afterward to London in the middle of the night. I should have to sleep at your house. Oh, yes. We can easily give you a bed. That is not very convenient. Couldn't I come at some other time? We have decided that the night is the best time. The unusually high pay will be your reward for the trouble. But of course, you are perfectly free to refuse the work if you wish. I thought of the £50. I thought how very useful the money would be to me. I do not want to refuse, I said. I will do whatever you want. But I should like to understand a little more clearly what it is you wish me to do. Of course. I will explain everything to you. But it is very secret. Are you quite sure that nobody can hear what we are saying? Quite sure, I replied. Then I will explain. A few years ago, I bought a house and a small piece of land, about 10 miles from Reading. I discovered that the soil in one of my fields contained fuller's earth. Fuller's earth, as you probably know, is a valuable substance and is only found in 1 or 2 places in England. Unfortunately, the amount of fuller's earth in my field was rather small. But to the right and left of it, in fields belonging to my neighbors, there were much larger quantities of the substance. My neighbors had no idea that their land was as valuable as a gold mine. Naturally, it was in my interest to buy their land before they discovered its true value. But, unfortunately, I had no capital with which to do this. So, I told the secret to a few of my friends, and they suggested that we should quietly and secretly dig out our own small quantity of fuller's earth, and that in this way we would earn enough money to buy the neighboring fields. We have been working secretly like this for some time. One of the machines we use is a press. This press, as I have already explained, is not working properly. and we want your advice on the subject. We guard our secret very carefully, and if our neighbors found out that an engineer had visited our little house, our discovery about the fuller's earth would not be a secret any longer, and we would have no chance at all of buying those fields and carrying out our plans. That is why I have made you promise me that you will not tell a single human being that you are going to Aford tonight. Do you understand? Yes, I answered. One point that I do not quite understand is this. How can a press be of any use to you in digging fuller's earth out of the ground? Ah, he said carelessly. We have our own special way. We use the press to turn the fuller's earth into bricks, so that we can remove the substance without letting the neighbors know what it is. But that is just a detail. I have taken you into my confidence now, Mr. Hatherley, and have shown you that I trust you. He rose as he spoke. I shall expect you then at Aford at 11:15. I will certainly be there. And do not say a word about it to anybody. He gave me a last, long, questioning look, and then, pressing my hand in his,